Story time. And yes, I'm driving because this mess just happened this morning and I am still trying to process what the heck I just saw. My husband, he goes to work earlier than myself, and most of the time I work from home anyway, but I'm going to the office today. But my husband, he is normally out the house at 5:30. But this morning he forgot his wallet, so he returned at 6 o'clock, 6:15. And I spoke to him. I went in the bathroom with him and talked to him because I was trying to figure out why he was there. He gave me his kiss and he left. I got back in the bed because I still had an hour before I needed to be up. I get back in the bed. Soon as I doze off, I feel a kiss on the forehead the exact same way that my husband gives me a kiss every single day before he goes to work. I wake up, it's my husband, and he's walking away going to the bathroom. And I'm like, hey, you're back again? But he didn't answer me. And I'm like, I might as well get up anyway because I need to get dressed. But he doesn't respond to me and he just keeps walking to the bathroom. And it's really, really odd for him to do something like that. So, of course, I get annoyed and I follow him into the bathroom. But when I get into the bathroom, there is no husband there. And my mind is freaking blown. I just saw a doppelganger or whatever the heck you want to call it. But that was definitely supposed to be my husband. It gave me a kiss. I felt it and I saw the back of him. He wore the same uniform that my husband wears to work. And he walked into the bathroom. I followed, but when I got into the bathroom, there was no one there. It was strange because my closet light was on and we're anal about not leaving lights on. The closet light was on. And I am wondering because these past few nights, I saw just the face of whatever that thing was. It was just a face. I can't describe what the face looked like. It just was a floating face that I saw the other night. But over the past couple nights, I keep seeing this. I don't know if it's an orb, a blob, a puff of smoke. I don't know what it is because it's something that in this world I really can't describe. And the closest thing I can describe it to is like a cloud of smoke moving, but it's more liquid like than a cloud. But it's like I see it in the room and it's really trying to form a shape. And I have seen it almost outside of the night that I seen the twerking person in the corner and the face. That was the only night I didn't see that thing trying to form. And I have seen that same thing over the years in different forms and different colors, but this one that I've seen lately has been like a grayish shape, but it stands out in the dark. It could be pitch black in a room and that shape of form, and it's enough that I'm asleep and it gets so close to me that it's very startling. Like I wake up and I scream, and my husband has to, he reminds me that he's in the room and everything's okay. And I'll go back to sleep. I'll throw the cover over my head like I'm a little kid because I just want to sleep. Like they bug me so much in the middle of the night. But I am wondering if that cloud of smoke was whatever this thing that I saw that was not my husband trying to form. Um. Anyway, that's another paranormal moment. That's some recent stuff. It's so crazy that ever since I came back from visiting my mom when my cousin had that seizure, that the spiritual world has been so active around me since then. I have always seen things, but there is only one other time in my life back in the year of 2012 to 2013. Those 2 years were this heavy with the activity where I'm not getting a night's rest without seeing something. And right now it's back. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna cleanse the house again, but I am not the ghost whisperer. I I'm tired. I just want some sleep. But now apparently they're not just letting me sleep. They're showing up during the daytime. And you have to excuse me, I'm just rambling because this literally just happened a few less than an hour ago. So my mind is just blown. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on what this thing is that I saw? Let me know in the comments.
So, paranormal stories in the hood is such an interesting phenomenon because, am I saying that word right? Anyways, it's so interesting because it just harbors a lot of negative, low vibrational energies, right? And I want to tell two from my grandma's house. I live in Memphis, and her house is close to Orange Mountain. If you're from Memphis, literally you know. Like, I don't even have to explain any further with that. And before I start the first story, I just want to say my grandma's house is super duper haunted. Like, everybody who has ever been in that house has had an experience. Like, after I'm done with the two, I will just give y'all little random occurrences that everybody who has ever stepped foot in that house and has stayed there longer than a day, they've had an experience. But let me get into my first one. So I was like 9, and we lived with my grandma for like a year when I was 9 years old. And I would usually like sleep in a different room, but I wanted to sleep in the room that my parents were sleeping in because they had a TV. And my grandma would let me keep the TV in the front. But this is like when I was 8, I can't remember the year, but her TV was not a smart TV. Like, you couldn't access Netflix on it, but on the TV back there you could. So that's why I went to sleep back there. So, and I have to mention this detail too. The house was silent. When I say you could hear a pin drop, seriously, it is that silent. The only noise it is from this TV. You know when you can hear the air conditioning being on, you can't even hear the air, and it's like dark too. So Netflix is playing, and I kind of get into whatever is on, but then that "Are you still watching?" hits. Now, it's no lamps, it's no subtle lights. Every light in this woman's house is aggressive. So I'm kind of just like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to sleep. I probably shouldn't be up anyways. I don't know what time it is. Let me just go back to sleep. And I also want to mention the mattress is on the floor. Okay, the mattress is on the floor. So I lay my head down, right? And I almost go to sleep. But y'all know, like in movies, when it's a word they be using, or two words they be using. It's like muffled talking, but it's not like one person is talking. It's like it's almost like if you're in a party and you just hear a bunch of people talking, but you can't make out what they're saying. I hear that as clear as day. I lift my head up off the pillow. I don't hear nothing anymore. Bro, the way I lifted my head up so quick, like lift my hand up and I'm looking at everybody else because the way it was so clear, I'm thinking I couldn't have been the only person that heard that. Nobody even moved. Nobody even moved, and it was just gone. I ain't gonna lie, I slept on the wall that day. What I mean, like, I literally did not lay back down on the bed. Like, I was basically sitting up, laid against the wall. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna make these two different videos. So, this is kind of part one about my grandma and her haunted ass house.
I've always felt a specific type of way about like Americans who don't necessarily believe in certain like other aspects of things because it forces them to like unlearn shit in the Western world. That's besides the point anyways. There's this interview of Lauryn Hill and Wyclef, and he's actively telling a story about like, yeah, like in Haiti I saw like a mermaid, like that was some crazy ass shit, and Lauryn Hill is just like making fun of him, right? And that shit just always made me look at her differently because it's just like, you go over there. You go over there and you go to the fucking beach that they tell you don't go to. Go ahead. Go to the coast. Matter of fact, y'all wanted more Haitian story times. I'm going to give you another Haitian story time. I had told this story one time, but shit went wrong and the video got taken down. We're going to do it again. I went to Haiti one time. I was 4. We, we were in Port-au-Prince. Everything was chilling. Everything was fine. And my grandmother would tell me, there are people, and like for a lack of better words, people in Haiti who look like Slender Men. And the way that these spirits show up is they show up because the way that our house was set up is like, it was kind of a dome. It was kind of a dome like this. There were like 3 different wings and I was in the middle wing. Woo! Y'all, my grandmother told me, look, when this candle blows out, Do not leave your room. Do not open your eyes. She was like, unless I come get you, do not get out of this bed. And she was just all like, and if you hear anything, turn the other way. You think I'm going to remember all of that at 4? I did. I just didn't listen. I started hearing scratches like that on the walls, but like from ear to ear, like on the walls, right? I was getting real scared. My eyes open. Okay, because the candle was already out. I had fallen asleep though, you know what I mean? Well, I'm hearing scratches, and so I opened my eyes, and I remember when I opened my eyes, I started hearing whispers. Whispers like this, saying, open the door, get out of your bed, open the door. Oh, hell no. I was like, when I tell you and this was the dumbest thing I could have done. I ended up moving. I ended up like curling up into the ball, bitch. That woke up the spirits. When I tell you, there were literal, like, it looked like slender men, like tall figures, shadow figures rising from the bottom to the top and like over in this dome area, bitch. There were claws, there were big sharp teeth, there were it was scary as fuck. It was one of the scariest things ever. And the whispers just got louder and louder. And everybody was just like, that's literally what the fuck it sounded like. And that was one of the scariest things ever. And I remember my grandmother, she busted open the door and she was just all like, I told you not to open your eyes. She was like, you're inviting them. And she had to give me a bath in this blue water. And that was one of the scariest things I'd ever fucking like done in my life. Now, the reason why I was talking about Wyclef and this mermaid story is, whoo, where we had lived, and I posted a video of like me back in Haiti, and you could see that like in my backyard was a beach. And I don't know why I said it like that. And girl, when I tell you, like a couple of nights later, this was one of my last nights there. I have never been back to Haiti since. When I tell you, I had looked out of the window and was just chilling there. The sun was setting. It wasn't dark yet. When I tell you, I was just chilling there and I see the most prettiest woman I had ever seen. The prettiest woman I had ever seen, sitting down, and she was bathing in the sun. Now, this isn't something like just sitting in the sun. No, like she was dancing and moving in the sun. Like, I've never seen this before. And if you know anything about voodoo, you would know somebody named Oshun or Yemaya. And this woman, like the way that, like the stories that you hear about Oshun, like just like the way that you hear about like how seductive she was and how beautiful she was and like how people were in a trance with her, that's literally what this woman looked like. And I remember one of my neighbors who lived there too, he would always say, she's beautiful, but you can't touch her. She's beautiful, but you can't touch her. And so I remember, like, as I was looking at her, I kept thinking, like, I wonder why he was saying, like, you can't touch her. Like, you can't touch her. And I had seen this lady walk into the ocean. And the more and more she got into the ocean, the longer and longer her face got. And I turned around, I laid down, and I minded my business.